Discomfort doesn't usually show up when you're off track. It shows up when you're getting closer. And most people don't realize that because the moment something starts to feel uncertain or unfamiliar, they assume it means they should stop, that something isn't right, that they're not ready. But what if that feeling isn't telling you to stop at all? What if it's pointing you in the direction you've been trying to avoid? I'm Karen, and this is The Rewrite, a podcast about finding the courage to pursue the life you already know you're meant to live. As we move through this, I want to help you to start recognizing what your discomfort is actually telling you, because not all of it means the same thing. And once you begin to see the difference, you'll start responding to it differently too. There are thoughts that can keep you in place, the kind that feel true but quietly delay movement. And when you start to move past those, what often shows up next isn't clarity, it's discomfort. Most people don't avoid growth because they don't want it. They avoid it because of how it feels. Because growth doesn't always feel exciting or inspiring or even clear. Sometimes it feels like uncertainty, tension, second guessing. And in those moments, we interpret that feeling as a signal to pull back, to wait, to return to what feels familiar. But what if that feeling isn't telling you to stop? What if it's telling you you're closer than you've ever been? There was a time in my life where something I had been working toward was actually starting to take shape. In my late 20s, I was assigned to a small record label, and little by little, things were moving forward. Opportunities were opening up. There were conversations about traveling, performing, stepping into something much bigger. And I remember it got to a point where I had to get my first passport because it wasn't just rehearsals and trying to get my first album recorded anymore. It was becoming real. They were planning all the steps ahead before the first step was even completed. And what made it even more real wasn't just the opportunity itself. It was realizing that if I had said yes to it, something in my life would actually have to change. It wasn't going to stay as a dream. It would require me to show up differently, to be seen in a way I hadn't been before, and to carry a level of responsibility I wasn't sure I was ready for. And that's when everything shifted, not externally, but internally. Because as things started to become real, so did the discomfort. And it wasn't just one clear thought, it was a mix of things all happening at once. One part of me was excited, and another part of me was trying to slow everything down. I remember thinking, what if I can't handle what comes with it? What if I lose myself in something I thought I wanted? And without fully realizing it, I started to pull back, not all at once, but enough. Enough to slow down, to hesitate, to eventually step away from it completely. And at the time, it didn't feel like fear. It felt like I was being careful. But looking back, it wasn't clarity that stopped me. It was discomfort. The discomfort of stepping into something unfamiliar or not knowing who I would have to become in that space. And for a long time, there was a part of me that wondered what would have happened if I had moved forward anyway. And over time, I made peace with that chapter, but what it taught me stayed. And I want to be clear about something. I don't carry that as regret anymore, but I do recognize what it taught me. Because one of the biggest reasons I'm showing up in this way now is because I know what it feels like to look back and wonder what might have happened if I had moved forward. And I don't want to live in that space again. Not because I need everything to work out perfectly, but because I don't want to be the reason I didn't try. And the difference now isn't that discomfort has disappeared. It's that I understand it differently. I'm in a different stage of my life, more aware, more grounded, more responsible in how I move. So when something feels uncomfortable now, I don't automatically take that as a sign to stop. I take a moment to ask, is this something I need to step away from or something I need to grow through? And at the same time, when I look back at that season now, I don't see it the same way I used to. Because part of me truly believes that not moving forward then was also protection. I wasn't in the same place I am today. Not in how I thought and how I handled things, not in how I understood what comes with being seen on that level. I can honestly say I don't know if I would have handled that well back then. So while it looked like something I walked away from, I also recognize it may have been something I was being held back from for a reason. And that perspective doesn't take away from the lesson. If anything, it deepens it. Because now I understand that not every closed door is a missed opportunity. Sometimes it's alignment happening in a way you don't fully see yet. Discomfort isn't always a warning, and it isn't always a doorway either. Sometimes it's something you're meant to move through, and other times it's something you're meant to step back from. The difference is learning how to recognize which is which. And one way to begin noticing that is by paying attention to what the discomfort is doing. Is it shutting you down or is it stretching you forward? Because there's a kind of discomfort that drains you. It feels heavy, forced, like you're trying to make something fit that doesn't. And when you step back from it, there's a sense of clarity. But there's also a kind of discomfort that challenges you. It feels uncertain, maybe even exposing, but there's movement in it. Something in you knows this matters. And then there's a discomfort that comes from not acting at all. The one that lingers, the one that keeps coming back even after you've talked yourself out of it. That kind doesn't push you forward, it just reminds you you haven't moved. And part of the reason it feels so unsettling is because it pulls you out of what's familiar, out of what you've known, out of what you've been comfortable maintaining, and into something that requires you to respond differently, not always to move forward, but to pay attention. So the next time discomfort shows up, instead of immediately stepping back, pause and ask yourself, is this pulling me away or stretching me forward? And if you're not sure right away, that's okay. Because sometimes clarity doesn't come instantly. Sometimes it comes from sitting with the question instead of rushing to escape the feeling. And if you want to carry something with you from this, here are three things to remember. Number one, not all discomfort is meant to be pushed through. Some of it is there to get your attention, not your action. Number two, pay attention to what happens when you step back versus when you lean in, because the right kind of discomfort will still carry a sense of movement. And number three, the discomfort you ignore doesn't disappear. It lingers, it keeps coming back until you decide to respond to it. So this week, pay attention to what feels uncomfortable, not just the feeling, but what it's asking of you. Because it might not be a signal to stop, it might be an invitation to respond differently. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for taking the moment to really listen to what's been coming up for you. I look forward to continuing this with you in the next episode. This is The Rewrite because your story isn't finished yet.